Unit 2. Procedures and costs of establishment of business entities. Before establishing a business entity, regardless of the chosen form, it is necessary to obtain information about any possible additional conditions necessary for a specific business. The conditions are published on PSCHR webpage. ST can be established by any person capable of doing business, insofar as he is not a tax debtor or is not on the list of tax defaulters at the Financial Office of Republic of Croatia. In some business sectors, intellectual services for example, there are no specific condition for pursuing the business. Sole trader only needs a business place, or he can even do business from home. However, in the case of a number of sectors, certain conditions must be fulfilled before starting the business. Specific permits, licenses have to be obtained. The conditions are published on the governmental webpage. Sole trader, ST, establishment is very easy, it takes only few steps. For registration via the e-operate, a digital certificate is required, which can be ordered by any natural person for free at the administrative unit. It requires just a personal document. The first step is registration in the Register of Craft Businesses. This can be done personally in the government office or in internet form by the intermediary financial agency, FDI Advisors. Application for entry in the Register of Craft Businesses and list of necessary documentation depending on type of business activities can be taken via portal of Register of Craft Businesses Republic of Croatia, HR. The second step is to register with the Ministry of Finance of the Republic of Croatia. ST must define locations where the business activities will take place and where the revenues will be generated, whether he has any business units or capital investments in home country and or abroad, whether he has any accounts abroad and their numbers. A person need to decide, in accordance with legal regulations, for the way of taxation, flat rate or earned income. The third and last step is registration into the Retirement and Health Insurance at Health Insurance Institute of Republic of Croatia. Registration is done on the Form M1 and Form 1. The establishment procedure for supplementary is the same, except that in this case he needs to fulfill the requirement that he is employed at another employer. The consent of his employer is not necessary. In order to enter into the Register of Craft Businesses, the future sole trader must fill in application for entry in the Register of Craft Businesses and add valid personal identification document. If it is necessary, a proof of fulfillment of special health conditions. A proof of right to use business premises, if business activities requires business place. In the case of related craft, evidence of formal qualification, master's certificate or professional competence. If the applicant has not this documentation, he can hire an employee who has all required qualifications, and continue with his business activities. Third country nationals working permit, non-European Economic Area countries. Valid residence registration certificate. In case that there are no specific requirements regarding the premises or business performance, and that the future sole trader has provided all the necessary documentation and information, the entire procedure can be carried out in a few days. The registration in the Register of Craft Businesses can be done in person in the government office or internet form or by the intermediary financial agency, FDI Advisors. Application for entry in the Register of Craft Businesses and list of necessary documentation depending on type of business activities can be taken via portal of Register of Craft Businesses Republic of Croatia, HR. Tax for registration in the Register of Craft Businesses is 270 HRK. Issued trade license costs 200 HRK. The cost of any other necessary permission depends on the type of permission. A sole trader must open a GIRO account for business transactions. When the future sole trader is not the owner of the real estate where his business address is registered and he will perform his business activities, owner's permission for using business address or rental contract is needed. Before the future sole trader makes a registration into trade registry, make sure that he has all necessary documentation. After the registration, sole trader must, as soon as possible, take care of a business account so that the business can take place smoothly. A sole trader needs to select high-quality accounting service provider, except if he opts for flat-rate taxation. If he will make business with natural persons and receive payments in cash, he must have a tax cash register and perform activities which are defined by the provisions of fiscalization law. Limited liability company, DOO, is the most common form of a company in Croatia. The process of establishment shall be carried out in notary's office. Condition for establishing DOO are as follows. All funding contributions in cash must be paid to the provisional bank account or valuation of property or rights which shall be share capital. Founders have signed the standard business establishment contract or statement in case of one founder. All participants, establishers, managers, must be present because all documentation and signatures must be certified by the notary. A foreign citizen can set up a limited liability company in Croatia under the same conditions as Croatian citizens. Prior to the registration is obtained Croatian identification number. Court interpreter needs to present, unless the foreign citizen understands and speaks Croatian language. Conditions and recruitment procedure, please see in Module 6. All founders and managers must be present by the notary. In case when the founder is a legal person, his legal representative must be present. All founders and legal representatives must personally sign the documents in the notary's office, on the same day that all the documents were created. Founder, deposit the founding capital, minimum 20,000 HRK, on the temporary account in the selected bank. Via Adv-Cro-Eng service it is possible to establish DOO from any notary office or HR office in Republic Croatia. In 2 days after submitting an application to the court, founders will receive a decision on registration of the company into the business. At the same time, founders also receive the tax number of the company. To register a limited liability company electronically, all founding contributions must be in cash and paid up prior to the filling of a proposal for registering a company in the court register. In paper form, procedure for registration lasts 15 days. Some of the following needed steps. After making the stamp, the company need to apply to the Statistical Institute of Republic Croatia into Register of Business Subjects and need to report main activities on the form RPS-1. After the notification of classification received from Statistical Institute, company's bank account can be opened. Obtaining a permit to perform selected business activity, if necessary, please check the requirements for specific business here. For a manager without employee status, an application for payment of Social Security contributions is required. Basic company's documentation, accountant service contract, business premises lease contract must be delivered to the authorized tax department. Safety and health at work regulations, labor law and collective agreement must be respected, depending on specific businesses. When registering DOO, a natural person needs to provide a personal identification document, his tax or personal identification number, OIB, and a proof of payment of the founding capital. All legal persons, founders, however, need a short version of the extract from the Register of Companies, personal documents of their founders and legal representatives, business tax number, and a proof of payment of the founding capital. In addition to the above-mentioned documents, founder needs to provide data on founders and the company's legal representatives, full name of the company, business address, List of business activities to be carried out within the company. In relevant office, the following documents will be prepared. List of these documents can be found on the website of the Agency for Investments and Competitiveness. After the submission of a complete application into the Register of Business Entities, the registration decision is issued in 2 days, if submission was in the electronic way, or 15 days, if submission was in paper form. Via Adv-Cro-Eng service, it is possible to establish DOO from any notary office or HR office in Republic Croatia. Costs of lawyer, notary service and court tax for establishing DOO depends on the amount of share capital and number of members, signatures. Whether the founder is the owner of the facility where company's business address is set or not, the company must have lease agreements of business or office space, or the statement of the owner that the address is only business address for receiving mail. The statement doesn't need to be verified. In the case that the lessor is a natural person, lease agreement has to be declared to the authorized tax department. In order to be completely familiar with the procedure and required documentation, it is recommended that you as a future FDI advisor prepare all the necessary documentation and personally revise all registration procedures, up to the point of filing the documents to the relevant organizations.